Alrighty, everybody, welcome into Nurse's Time Domain. Um, so to start, why is my volume always on this thing? Alright, so to start, I took I took fire yesterday. And what I mean by fire, man, that lighting's so bad, it like literally makes my face look red. My face isn't red like that. It's the lighting, so I apologize. Because there's lighting coming in from there, there's lighting coming in from up there, and then like yeah, I have a scrape up here for some reason. I think it's because I'm out in the heat a lot. I I I do a lot of exercise, so I do a lot of exercising because if I go back enough, like I'm not as red as I look. Like off to the side here, I'm not red, but it's because of my lighting. So I gotta find a way to fix that. But I work out a lot. I'm like literally I pedal 12 miles to and from a job back and forth. So I exercise a lot. So I probably either probably from sweat or whatever. I don't I'm not really letting it bother me. But yeah, so going back to what I said, um I took fire yesterday. It's because I was trying my best to like reach out to somebody. Thank you, Alex. I'm glad to see you're here today. I'm on Job right now, so I know you've been popping in and out. I'm very, very happy we've made it this far. So, um, but going back, why is everything's going crazy right now, man? Um, but going back to what I said, I took fire yesterday, and what I mean by that is, I literally I made a suggestion and I talked about the reason why I made a suggestion, okay? Now, the suggestion I made, the reason I got mad is because somebody that's another YouTuber uploads videos and of the Bible, okay? And I got a little bit upset because what happened was, and the way it all went down is you're always supposed to put the Lord first. And the reason I got upset with that is because that's not how it went down. All right. Now, on top of it, the person is also, if you've noticed and you've watched their content, they're not very happy with where they're at right now. So I took it upon myself and said in front of everybody, and this is what upset everybody. All right. God spoke to me and he put it in my heart to say to this person directly, and that upset a lot of people because it's what God said. God said to me this. God said to me to tell this person that if they're stuck in a contract or a bind, to go and do whatever you want and break the contract off because you'll still do well without the contract, meaning you can even go find a job and you'll still do extremely well. And I kept reaching out, and I kept explaining it to this person. And I know people saw it, and people actually came after me on it. And I'm like, no, you guys don't understand. You think you're not paying attention to body language, first of all. Some of you guys on the internet, you guys don't pay attention to things like body language. Okay, you don't pay attention to that kind of stuff. That's why I don't listen to half of you guys because some of you guys, let's face facts. No offense to no, I don't think it's anybody here, but people outside of this that don't listen to the Bible, don't read the Bible, don't even see what's going on people's faces sometimes. They don't pay attention to body language. So when I reach out to somebody, it's because I see they don't look very happy about stuff. And I think what could happen with this person, and if it was me and I knew this person, I would have literally sat down by now and been like, okay, what do you want to do? What do you want to do here on this platform? Like, what is it you want to do? And she keeps openly saying that what she wants to do. And it's like, nobody is actually hearing what she wants. Everybody is just like, being like, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that. And nobody actually hears what she wants. And one of her favorite things, and I know this, is to read the Bible. All right? One of her favorite things is to read the Bible. She's a firm believer of Jesus Christ, like I am. And it really baffles me because people take her away from that. People take her away from that. And like last night, I was watching something. It said about politics is, pretty much what I clarified. Politics is ran by the enemy. You know, so this is just some food for thought. But you know, some people are dealing with more than we realize, and nobody's actually asking questions about how they feel about stuff. So when I get attacked, it's because I know somebody's going through something on the other end, and I'm getting attacked for me trying to prove a point. And on top of it, those people don't even listen to me. They came after me. They called me a couple slurs. I don't care. I'm sitting there trying to get the point across that that person is not feeling good. Now, the person I'm talking about is Melanie Mack. That's why I pray for her so much here, because when you watch her content, you can literally see on her face how she feels about things. She speaks with her face. She shows her feelings through her face. Yes, and the reason she used slurs is because she's mad. She is actually very, very upset, mad. That's how those slurs come about. She isn't happy with anything right now. You can tell, and that's why I said, preferably, I think she needs to go stream with a bunch of girls that are gamers and stay in that, because I, as a guy, I love looking at beautiful women. And any other guy that is, straight, of course, likes looking at beautiful women. There are a bunch of beautiful women that woman could stream with, and she'd probably be fine, as long as they're gamers, not political people. Alright? That's the other thing. If she's even remotely, she even actually said, I like talking about gaming. I don't like talking about politics. And she said that. And that's why, like, the fact that, she's on a stream right now and always joining that streamer 3 days in a row, it's like, dude, don't you think, have you even listened to anything she said? You are not following her, you're not her actual friend, and because you don't listen to what she said. You're claiming her as your friend, but you didn't listen to anything she said. None of those people will listen to anything that woman says. And that's why I speak up for her, because nobody wants to listen. That's why I get my attitude with them the way I do. On top of it, if you're trying to pull her from God, dude, that one too, because God has to come before everything. That's what the rules are for the Bible, and that's what I believe to be true. God wants us to love him the way he loves us back unconditionally. That's why, I'm all about doing this every single day, waking up, even if I'm dead tired. So, all right, let's get into this. I'm gonna start reading, and yeah. So, all right. Bildad is who's speaking now. Chapter 18. Then Bildad the Shuhite replied, "When will you end these speeches? Be sensible, and then we can talk. Why are we regarding as cattle, and considered stupid in your sights? You who tear yourself to pieces in your anger. Is the earth to be abandoned for your sake? Or must the rocks be removed from their place? The lamp of the wicked man is snuffed out. The flame of his fire stops burning. The light in his tent becomes dark. The lamp beside him goes out. The vigor of his step is weakened. His own schemes throw him down. His feet thrust him into a net. He wanders into its mesh. A trap seizes him by the heel. A snare holds him fast. A noose is hidden for him on the ground. A trap lies in his path. Terrors startle him on every side, and dog every step, and dog his every step. Calamity is hunger for him. Disaster is ready for him when he falls. It eats away parts of his skin. Death's firstborn devours his limbs. He is torn from the security of his tent, and marched off to be the king of terrors. Fire resides in his tent. Burning sulfur is scattered over his dwelling. His roots dry up below, and the branches wither above. The memory of him perishes from the earth. He has no name in the land. He is driven from the light into the realm of the darkness, and is banished from the world. He has no offspring or descendants among his people. No survivors were once, no survivor where he once lived. People of the West, appalled at his fate, those of the East are seized with horror. Surely such is dwelling of an evil man, such is the place of one who does not know God. Job is speaking now. Excuse me. Chapter 19. Then Job replied, "How long will you torment me and crush me with your words? With words. 10 times now you have reproached me. Shamelessly you attack me. If it is true that I have gone astray, my error remains my concern alone. If indeed you would exalt yourself above me and use my humility against me, you know that God has wronged me and drawn his net around me. Though I cry, violence, I get no response. Though I call for help, there is no justice. He has blocked my way, I cannot pass. He has shrouded my paths in darkness. He has stripped me from my honor, and removed my crown from my head. He tears me down on every side till I am gone. He uproots my hope like a tree. His anger burns against me. He counts me among his enemies. His troops advance in force. They build a siege ramp against me and encamp around my tent. He has alienated my family for me. My acquaintances are completely estranged from me. My relatives have gone away. My closest friends have forgotten me. My guests and my female servants count me a foreigner. They look on me as they look on me as on a stranger. I summon my servant, but he does not answer. Though I beg him with my own mouth, my breath is offensive to my wife. I am loathsome to my own family. Even the little boys scorn me. When I appear, they ridicule me. All my intimate friends detest me. Those I love have turned against me. I am nothing but skin and bones. I have escaped only to be my skin of teeth. No, I have escaped only by the skin of my teeth. Have pity on me, my friends. Have pity, for the hand of God has struck me. Why do you pursue me as God does? You will never get enough of my flesh. Oh, that my words were recorded, that they were written on a scroll, that they were inscribed with an iron tool, on lead, or engraved in rock forever. I know my Redeemer lives, and that in the end we will stand on the earth. And after my skin has been destroyed, yet in my flesh I will see God. Come on. I myself will see him, my own eyes, and I another, and eyes, I and not another, how my heart yearns within me. If you say, how will we hound him, since the root of my troubles lies in him, you should fear the sword yourself. For wrath will bring punishment by the sword, and then you will know that there is judgment. All right, Zophar, chapter 20. So I'm gonna pause there for a second. So as you can see, Job is just whining. He's whining because he feels like he feels like he was done wrong. Now, you're gonna learn that God doesn't ever do you wrong. God just tests you to see if you're gonna be with Him. God just tests you to see if you're gonna continue to praise Him after everything's said and done. You know, and that's what God does. So we have to look at it that way. Don't ever question. Don't ever think that God doesn't care about you, because God cares about us all. He always has and always will. We're His creations. He loves us the way He made us. So we have to understand that. So, all right, chapter 20. Zophar. Then Zophar, the Naamathite, replied, "My troubled thoughts promote me to answer, because I am greatly disturbed. I hear a rebuke that dishonored me, and my understanding inspired me to reply. Surely you know it has been from old, ever since mankind was placed on the earth, that the mirth of the wicked is brief. The joy of the godless lasts but a moment, though the pride of the godless person reaches to the heavens, and his head touches the clouds. He will perish forever like his own dung. Those who have seen him will say, where is he? Like a dream, he flies away, no more to be found. Banished like a vision of the night, the eye that saw him will not see him again. His place will look on him no more. His children must make amends to the poor. His own hands must give back his wealth. The youthful vigor that fills his bones will lie with him in the dust. Though evil is sweet in his mouth, and he hides it under his tongue, though he cannot bear to let it go, and lets it linger in his mouth. Yet his food will turn sour in his stomach. It will become the venom of a serpent within. He will spit out riches he swallowed. God will make his stomach vomit them up. He will suck the poison of the serpent. The fang of the adder will kill him. He will not enjoy the streams, the rivers flowing with honey and cream. What he toiled, he must give back, uneaten. He will not enjoy the profit from his trading. For he has oppressed the poor and left them the destitute. He has seized houses he did not build. Surely he will have no respite from his craving. He cannot save himself by his treasure. Nothing is left for him to devour. His prosperity will not endure. In the midst of his plenty, distress will overtake him. The full force of his misery will come upon him when he has filled his belly. God will vent his burning anger against him and rain down his blows on him. Though he flees from an iron weapon, a bronze-tipped arrow pierced him. He pulls it out of his back, the gleaming point of his liver. Terrors will come over him. Total darkness lies in wait for his treasures. A fire unfanned will consume him and devour what is left in his tent. The heavens will expose his guilt. The earth will rise up against him. A flood will carry off his house. Rushing waters on that day of God's wrath. Such is the fate allots that wicked, the heritage appointed for them by God. All right, Job chapter 21. Job then replied, "Listen carefully to my words. Let this be a consolation. Give me, bear with me while I speak. After I have spoken, mock on. It is it is my complaint directed to a human being. Why should I not be impatient? Look at me and be appalled. Clap your hand over your mouth. When I think about this, I am terrified. Trembling seizes my body. Why do the wicked ones live on? Growing old and increasing in power, they see their children established around him, their offsprings before their eyes. Their homes are safe and free from fear. The rod of God is not open on them. Their bulls never fail to breed. Their cows calve and do not miscarry. They send forth their children as a flock. Their little ones dance about. They sing to the music of the tremble and lyre. They make merry to the sound of pipe. They spend their years in prosperity and go down to the grave in peace. Yet they say, God, leave us alone. We have no desire to know your ways. Who is the Almighty that we should serve him? What would we again be praying to him? What would we again be praying to him? But their prosperity is not their own hands. So I stand aloof from the plains of the wicked. Yet how often is the lamp of the wicked snuffed out? How often does calamity come upon them? The fate of God allots in his anger. How often are they like straw before the wind, like chaff swept away by a gale? It is said, God stored up the punishment of the wicked of their children. Let him repay the wicked so that they themselves will experience it. Let their own eyes see their destruction. Let them drink the cup of wrath. Let them drink the cup of wrath of the Almighty. For what do they care about the families they leave behind? When their allotted months come to an end, can anyone teach knowledge to God, since he judges even the highest? One person dies in full vigor, completely secure and at ease, and well nourished in body, bones rich with marrow. Another dies in bitterness of soul, never having enjoyed anything good. Side by side they lay in dust. The worms cover them both. I know full well what you are thinking, the scheme by which you would wrong me. You say, where now is the house of the great, the tents where the wicked live? Have you never questioned those who travel? Have you paid no regard to their accounts, that the wicked are spared from the day of the calamity, that they are delivered from the day of the wrath? Who denounces their conduct to their face? Who repays them for what they have done? They are carried to the grave, and watch is kept over the tombs. The soil in the valley is sweet to them. Everyone follows after them, and countless throngs go before them. So how can you console me with your nonsense? Nothing is left of your answer but falsehood. Alright, so we're on to Eliphaz right now. I think my coffee's not empty. Not yet. Alright, so we're on Eliphaz, chapter 22 now. We're reading to 27, so not too far away from it already. This book, a lot of the reason I fly through this book, and there's so many chapters, is because everything's just drawn out. So what I mean by the text is more spread out than the other chapters, and you can just look at it and tell that it's written to be read as poetry. All right, Eliphaz, chapter 22. Then Eliphaz the Temanite replied, "Can a man be of benefit to God? Can even a wise person benefit him? What pleasure would it give the Almighty if you were righteous? What would he again what would he gain if your ways were blameless? It is it is for your pity that he rebukes you and brings charge against you. Is not your wickedness great? Are you not sin? Are, are not your sins endless? You demand security from your relatives for no reason. You stripped people of their clothing, leaving them naked. You gave no water to the weary, and you withheld food from the hungry. Though you were a powerful man, owning land, an honored man, living on it, and you sent wisdom away empty-handed, and broke the strength of the fatherless. This is why snares are all around you, why sudden peril terrifies you, why it is so dark that you cannot see, why a flood of water covers you. Is not God in the heights of heaven? And see how lofty are the highest stars. Yet you say, what does God know? Does he judge through such darkness? Thick clouds veil him, so he does not see us. As he goes about in the vaulted heavens, will you keep the old path that the wicked have trod? They were carried off before their time, their foundation washed away by the flood. They said to God, leave us alone. What can the Almighty do to us? Yet it was he who filled their houses with good things. So I stand aloof from the plains of the wicked. The righteous see their ruin and rejoice. See their ruin and rejoice. The notice mocked them, saying, surely foes are destroyed, and fire devours wealth. Submit to God and be at peace with him. In this way, prosperity will come to you. Accept instructions from his mouth, and lay up his word in your heart. If you return to the Almighty, you will be restored. If you remove wickedness from far from your tent, and assigned your nugget of dust, your gold of Orpha to the rocks in the ravine. Then the Almighty will be your gold, the choicest silver of you. Surely then you will find delight in the Almighty, and will lift up your face to God. You will pray to him, and he will hear you, and you will fulfill your vows. What you decide on will be done, and light will shine on your ways. When people are brought low, and you say, let them lift them up, then he will say, the downcast, he will deliver even one who is not innocent, who will be delivered through the cleanliness of your hands. So, I'm snickering right now. I'm laughing because I said let them lift when the verse goes lift them up. So, like if you go to the gym and nobody's allowing you to like lift at the gym, so it's like let them lift. Like sort of like, you know how people are like let them cook? It's kind of on that level where like it's kind of on that level where it kind of just makes me laugh. So okay. So back to Job again. Then Job, chapter 23. Then Job replied, even today my compliment is bitter. His hand is heavy in spite of my groaning. If only I knew where to find him. If only I could go to his dwelling. I would state my case before him and fill my mouth with arguments. I would find out what he would answer me. and consider what he would say to me. Would he vigorously oppose me? No, he would not press charges against me. There are the upright can establish their innocence before him, and deliver, and there, and there I would be delivered forever from my judgment. But if I go to the east, he is not there. If I go to the west, I do not find him. When he is at work in north, I do not see him. When he turns to the south, I catch no glimpses of him. But he knows the way that I take. When he has tested me, I will come forth as gold. My feet have closely followed his steps. I have kept to his way without turning aside. I have not departed from the commands of his lips. I have treasured the words of his mouth more than my daily bread. But he stands alone, and who can oppose him? He does whatever he pleases. He carried out his decree against me, and many such plans he still has in store. That is why I am terrified before him. When I think of all this, I fear him. God has made my heart faint. The Almighty has terrified me. Yet I am not silenced by the darkness, by the thick darkness that covers my face. Why does the Almighty not set times for judgment? Why must those who know him look in vain for such days? There are those who move boundary stones. They pasture flocks they have stolen. They drive away the orphans. They drive away the orphan's donkey, and take the widow's ox in pledge. They thrust the needy from the path, and force all the poor of the land into hiding. Like wild donkeys in a desert, the poor go about their labor of foraging food. The wasteland provides food for their children. They gather fodder in the fields and glean in the vineyards of the wicked. Lacking clothing, they will spend the night naked. They have nothing to cover themselves in the cold. They are drenched by mountain rains and huge rocks for lack of shelter. The fatherless child is snatched from the breast. The infant of the poor is seized for debt. Lacking clothes, they go about naked. They carry the sheaves, but still go hungry. They crush olives among the traces. They trade the winepress, yet they suffer thirst. The groan of the dying rise from the city, and the souls of the wounded cry out for help. But God charges no one with wrongdoing. There are those who rebel against the light, who do not know its ways, or stay in its path. The daylight is gone, the murderer rises up, kills the poor and the needy, and in the night steals forth like a thief. The eye of the adulterers watches the dusk. He thinks no evil will see me, and he keeps his face concealed. In the darkness, thieves break into the house, but the day they shut themselves in. They want nothing to do with the light. For all of them, midnight is their morning. They make friends with the terrors of the darkness. Yet they are foam on the surface of the water. Their portion of the land is cursed, so that no one goes to the vineyard. As heat and drought snatch away the melted snow, so the grave snatches away those who have sinned. The womb forgets them. The worms feast on them. The wicked are no longer remembered, but are broken like a tree. They prey on the barren and childless women, and to the widow they show no kindness. But God drags away the mighty by his power. Though they become established, they have no assurance of life. He may let the rest in a feeling. He may let them rest in a feeling of security, but his eyes are are on their ways. For a little while they are exalted, and then they are gone. They are brought low and gathered up like all others. They are cut off like the heads of grain. If this is not so, who can prove me false and reduce my word to nothing? So Job is just trying to clarify, again, that he doesn't feel good in his spot. And he also, if you take notice, his friends aren't exactly lifting him up from the situation either. Some of them, if you listen back to what they said, some of them are like, kind of not really, they're like kind of not helping to lift him up. To lift someone up it's called the power work. So, like, example, if somebody feels bad about their work, like if somebody feels bad about the stuff they do, like me, if I see potential in a person, I literally tell them they have potential. But if and I started learning that sometimes I started telling people more often. I'm like, look, if you want to do good in your own business, if you want to do good at music or whatever, you have to produce what sounds good to you first. Drag your crowd in, and then beyond that, keep doing that, because you're gonna drag a crowd in regardless. Like me, even with my comic, I know I don't draw the best, but there's still that crowd out there that loves the story, that loves reading what I have to put out. The story's well thought out, and the people that love the story and don't care about the drawings are the ones I'm gonna draw in. Once my drawing, because my drawing's gonna progress as time goes on, it won't be how it is right now. My drawing is only going to get better. And I know at that point, there's going to be people coming in that, and there's people out there that I already know that admire the way I draw stuff. Like, even if it's not the greatest. My latest picture on my YouTube profile on No Such Time Gaming, if you go and look at that, which I'll go and pull the image up. I did it all by myself. I took the time out of my schedule to draw a picture because I was like, I want to just do a picture of myself as my character from my comic book, along with a few other items behind me. So I drew one where I have my Angel Geothan behind me and the cross. So I'll show you guys that shortly. But I drew that by hand. Nobody drew that for me. I don't pay for my work to be done by others because, if I'm gonna put the work into something, I want to know I did it, and I want to get the appreciation back, and I want to get the blessing out of it, and I want to get paid back for what I do. At some point, and it'll all pay off eventually. But for right now, I'm doing it as it is. So that's just something about me you guys all should know is I don't ever pay anybody else to do my work. Look, I'm gonna say this: if I was to partner up with somebody, I'd be like, okay, you do part of the work, you do part of the work, and I'll do part of the work. We'll split it in half. And when it comes to drawing the comic book, I would continue to stay with the comic book. I wouldn't give that work to somebody else. I wouldn't even give the story to somebody else. I don't know how I would actually incorporate being helped with the comic book unless they wanted to literally take my character and put the character in a side story. Then I'd be like, okay, let me see what you have first, and let me see how you're going to work this. And then I would actually allow them to draw my character in their comic book doing all of his attacks and powers. And if they wanted to, trade off into my comic book. And that's how I would do that. But I don't want anybody touching the comic book I do, because that's my thing. That's what God wants me to do. like the YouTube channel here. God doesn't want me to, I know eventually I'm going to get picked up and paid for this. But I don't think I'm going to put too much of a company behind it unless they really, really respect God to that level. This YouTube channel is not ran by a company. It's ran by me myself, and it's ran by God. The graces of God has been protecting it. Angels have been protecting it. There's nothing else here but me, God, and the angels, or in Jesus Christ. So eventually, I'm gonna change the name up, and I don't know what it's gonna be called. But that's why, like, we know I went off topic, but again, also at the same time, I didn't exactly go off topic. But we see here that he has a team behind him, and you're not exactly picking him and lifting him up. And that's one of the things that, like, Job himself is struggling with right here. You can hear it in his voice, you can hear it in the text, and he's eventually they're gonna get to the point where, I'm not gonna ruin this for anybody, but something big is gonna happen later on, a little bit here down the road. We just need to wait to see what happens, because I know what happens, and anybody who hasn't read the story yet, you'll find out what happens. Something wild happens towards the end, and then that's why things end up changing. Because just give it time. All right. So we're almost done with today. We got 2 short chapters here, and then we're in chapter 27. So, all right, chapter 25. Bildad. Then Bildad, the Shuhite, replied, "Dominion and all belong to God. He established order in the heights of the heavens. Can his forces be numbered? On whom does his light not rise? How then can a mortal be righteous before God? How can one be born of a woman be pure? If the moon is not bright and the stars are not pure in his eyes, how much less is a mortal, who is but a maggot, a human being who is only a worm?" So again, we have Job talking again, and as you can see here, Bildad didn't talk. Bildad didn't really lift him up from the situation. So Job is just struggling right here. So, all right, chapter 26, Job. Job then replies, "How have you helped the powerless? How have you saved the arm that is feeble? What advice have you offered to one without wisdom? And what great insight you have displayed? Who has helped you utter these words? And no spirits spoke from your mouth. The dead are deep in anguish, and those beneath the waters, and all that live in them. The realm of the dead is naked before God. Destruction lies uncovered. He spreads out the northern skies over empty space. He suspends the earth over nothing. He wraps up the waters in his clouds, yet the clouds do not burst under their weight. He covers the face of the full moon, spreading his cloud over it. He marks out the horizon on the face of the waters, for a boundary between light and darkness. The pillar of heavens quake, aghast at his rebuke, but his power, he churned up the sea by his wisdom. He cut Rahab to pieces. By his breath the skies become fair. His hands pierce the gliding serpent, and these are but the outer fringe of his works. How faint the whisper we hear of him. Who then can understand the thunder of his power? All right, so we're on chapter 27. Again, we see Job just trying to pick himself up again and then trying to raise himself back up from, it's called the day. So the power word is something that, like, if you don't understand it, it's best you sit there and study it, because it teaches you a lot about like lifting yourself out of like really bad spots and just things like that. So it just it's one of those things that like you know focus on trying to raise yourself back up from the dead instead of letting everybody speak down about you. It's a very it's a concept that's not as easily to take in as one may say, but you can do it if you are alone and by yourself. Because most people, let's face it, most people don't lift people up. Most people bring them down. In fact, when I commented yesterday on that whole comment section, I was getting harassed by people. I was being called slurs. I was getting underwhelmed. I was getting overwhelmed by like nasty comments by people fighting against me because they feel like their line of thinking is better than mine. Now, I know how gamers are. I looked at the profile that was doing it. They're gamers, okay? They call me some gamer slurs, and that's perfectly fine because that's how us gamers are. That's how we be, you know? We're rough and tumble with each other. And I turned around and said some things myself, gamer stuff back, that just, the insult I threw back wasn't exactly, it was said without using context of any slurs in it just to make the point valid because I was being blamed and stuff. And you can go and look at it right now. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that right there can be a situation where if you're not prepared, if you're not reading your Bible, if you're not armored up, you're not gonna make it alive there. You're gonna say something that's gonna go very bad for you, and you're gonna get kicked off. You're gonna get kicked off the platform for a little bit because that's the way things work. The platform, people persuade you to say awful things on a platform sometimes, and then you get kicked off. So, that's why I say being a gamer is not exactly a cakewalk, and there's people out there that are gamers that can't handle that say they're gamers and they can't handle the slurs thrown at them. So we have to face facts that sometimes we're in a spot where we can't handle slurs. Like even when you grow on YouTube, I see it happen. Others, and you know what? We need to just armor up, dude. We need to armor up. We can't just not read our Bible and go through life. We go through life as an empty tomb, and we need to be full. We need to have a heart of fire. We need to have our armor on. Otherwise, we're not gonna win a battle. We're not gonna win a what's the word I'm looking for? We're not gonna win a trash talk battle. That's what I want to say. And the way I win trash talk battles is I say some pretty goofy stuff, and then I usually win because I'm like, the guy's like, Jesus help me. I was like, I will pray for you, and then he didn't say anything back. And then I turned around this morning and I asked the question, I'm like, why does everybody here act like this? So, but anyway, so the art piece I'm talking about is right here. I'm going to show you guys the art piece that I just genuinely I worked on the other day, and it's, I drew this all by myself. So this was done all by me in a program I use. So where is it? Where? It might be in pictures. Yeah, it looks like it might be. Yep, right here it is. So I'm going to have to open up a profile. I'm going to have to open up the studio I use. So this is going to show you guys I do all this work by myself. I don't allow people to do work for me. All right. So this right here, I did this all by myself. Now, I don't know how close this looks to me, but I think it's pretty close. I think it genuinely serves its purpose. But that was something I drew by my hands on a program I use with a pencil and a tablet. Now, I've gotten skilled with this. I drew this all out by myself. I blended it. Everything is done by me. Nothing here on the internet is done by anybody else but myself. So that's why I get really, really weird when people come and ask me about trying to help me with work, because I don't need that help. I know I don't need the help. I like my art. I like the work I do. I like my style. And we have to respect that. Anybody out there, everybody has their own style of artwork. Like, you can sit down, and I took art classes a year ago, but you can sit down and you can actually have your own style if you really, really put the effort out there. And that's why this picture to me is something that when people see it, I'm pretty sure that people like this picture, and I've had people, I have people like literally, it's trying to support my comic. But the purpose of it is like, I want you guys to understand, I don't need an artist to do work for me. I do all the work here by myself. In fact, all the stuff you see on every single one of my channels, I've done that. I did that by myself. You can tell by it's slightly off. There's nothing perfect about it. Like even right here, you can see I missed down here in this area, which I need to fill that in. But that's supposed to be blue down there, but it actually, you know what? It fades into white. I might leave it as white. But the point I'm trying to make is that, like, all this work you guys see me do is literally done by me myself. I don't ask anybody for help, and that's where like I want you guys to understand, if I'm doing this, if I'm doing good here by myself, if like anybody that's on YouTube, you can grow on YouTube. You just need to know your niche. For me, my niche was, putting out shorts on the Bible and attracting people in to listen to the Bible. Now, I know not many people show up on a daily basis, and I'm perfectly fine with that. I still got time to grow. I still got a long way to go. Even at this stage, people would probably be like, well, why don't you have more people? It's because more people coming in, it takes a little bit more for people to come in. I see 6 pop up on there sometimes. Some nights I'll be here and I see over 20 people in this chat. And I don't make a big deal about it. I just say thank you that they showed up, because I appreciate it. As long as they're not coming in and saying some off the wall stuff and getting themselves banned by me. Because like when you step foot in here and you say off the wall stuff to me, I'm not an advocate of accepting any like homosexual stuff in my chat. That'll usually be an instant ban for you. Everything else is to me is the way gamers handle stuff. You don't come in here and act weird with me, otherwise I'm gonna kick you. But you can come in here and insult me in some ways, and I'll be perfectly fine with it. Like last night, my chat literally had a guy of somebody attacking me over like stuff going on with my face, the red skin. That's why I said to you, I don't understand why you said I have red skin, because it's the shadowing. The shadowing makes it look like I have red skin, but I'm looking at my PC, I'm looking at my laptop right now, and I can see my skin is actually fairly light compared to what I see on my screen here. So, but that's why I don't let things bother me anymore, because like, you read the Bible, you armor up, and then you get an idea of where, you get an idea of certain things. And trust me, you don't want to go out, you don't want to go onto YouTube, you don't want to go onto like a platform, and say stuff to people without being armored up. Because if you're gonna speak up about something, you naturally have to have a cause behind it. If you don't have a cause behind it, what the heck are you doing? There's people out there that literally have no cause, and they're sitting there saying some really dumb stuff about people sometimes. And I see it. I see why some of these YouTubers are like, I see why some of these YouTubers say something back. And by all means, I understand why Quartering called me out, but I had my reasons for calling Quartering out and saying something to him in the first place. And I clarified why I said that. Because, his whole stream had taken Melanie Mac away from the kingdom of heaven. She uploads a video at like 5 o'clock every day. Sometimes now she uploads it after the show. And I gave him heck about it. And I told him, I was like, look, dude, don't interfere with that kind of stuff. Because that's something she wanted to do here on the platform. And I posted a video up of mine saying, why am I almost cut up to her now? That was a statement I made to make sure she stays ahead of me. But I know eventually she's not going to be ahead of me. And I'm still going to be moving along at the pace I am. And that's what I want. Even if I do make it ahead of her, it's not to race her to the finish line. It's because I'm reading it for an hour, almost an hour, live. She reads it in segments, 15-minute segments. She puts like 3 chapters out per day. And that, I'll be caught up to that in no time, because the next, after Job, after Job is where she's at. After Job, I think, not Job. Was it Job? After Job, yeah. She's in Psalms right now, and she's at 50 something. And Psalms is pretty long. But if she maintains her pace, she'll still stay ahead of me a little bit longer. But like, with the rate I'm reading, I might pass her within the next like 2 weeks or so. And I'm gonna say that here. I might pass her in the next 2 weeks. Again, I'm not racing her. I'm not challenging her to finishing the Bible. It's just that's how I do things here, and she does things completely different. So it's not a race to the end. I would never challenge anybody to racing to the end of the Bible and getting to know God. That's something that we should not be doing. We don't, I hate this. I don't like this mentality of trying to outdo people, because you know what that is? That's a lack of God. That's a complete lack of God, and that is you caring too much about the worldly stuff around you instead of focusing on what's up. So, with that said, we need to stop challenging each other to useless, pointless things, and we need to focus more on God and Jesus Christ. Gaming, you can focus on challenging each other, but after the gaming's over, go back to God. Go back to God. That's all I gotta say. All right. With that said, I'm gonna pray, and then I might have a few minutes or so to get out until I get out of here. But I'm gonna go ahead and pray right now. So, Lord Heavenly Father, Jesus Christ, I pray to you today that you do your works, do your wonders, do some incredible things, and show people that they should stop feeling challenged by each other. Lord, I know I can see, and I can see, and I know you can see that Melanie Mack is going through an extremely rough time. And Lord, put it on her heart, that same message you sent me about breaking a contract and doing her own thing. Because Lord, you know what's best for her. You know that's what she wants. And Lord, I'm glad you put that message in me. I'm glad you made me reach out, because it set the internet on fire yesterday. At least for me. Lord, I want you to make her understand that she has other options besides what she's doing right now. And Lord, put it in her to know that she will not fail at anything she does, Lord. And also, send angels her way, Lord, to protect and destroy whatever demons she has dwelling around her, whatever foul spirit she has, Lord. I also pray that you send my friend Stan angels today. I don't think he's going through a rough time, but everybody could always still use an angel in their life, Lord. And keep sending angels to everybody that needs them today, Lord. Send that light, send your light to them, Lord. Give everybody a heart of fire that you feel like deserves it today, Lord. Bless everybody today you feel like deserves it, Lord. And the people dwelling in negativity, Lord, teach them not to dwell in negativity. Teach them to raise and lift people up, Lord. Teach those people that to stop living in the low and start coming to you and living in the high, Lord. Have them all focus on what's in the sky above instead of what's below them, Lord. So that way we can live in peace amongst you, Lord. And put it in, remind Melanie as much as possible, or use me as a reminder for her to continue to dwell in the kingdom of heaven. I'll continue to dwell in the kingdom of heaven. I also don't want her to think that I'm trying to surpass her in any means. Like, I want her to know that I respect her, Lord, and I want her to know that I understand she's going through stuff, and I want her to know that, I'm a possibility that she could reach out to and have a conversation with about you, about the Bible, Lord. I want you to know, I want you to let her know that she can show that I respect her, Lord, and she's the one that brought me to you. So, Lord, if you can, Anybody like me that's bringing people to you, Lord, give us all a huge blessing today. And Lord, keep shining your light on everybody. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. So there you go. There you have it. It's been quite an eventful, like, I want to say 2 days, and I'm not giving up. Not eventful 2 days, but it's been an eventful like couple weeks. And you know, the month has sort of changed for a lot of us. You know, and the worst part is that, like, there's people out there that just don't understand. And there's people out there that are always going to try to pursue you and try to bring you down. And Job's story here, if it teaches you anything, it teaches you to try to keep lifting yourself up. And if you're having trouble lifting yourself up out of those situations, remove yourself from the situation, because you don't need those friends anymore. Those friends should be a thing of the past. And just remember, if you don't know it now, you will eventually. I hope God puts it on your heart to march away from the people you used to know and move on in your life. Anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna go make some food. And I'll be seeing you guys tomorrow morning with the stream. And then the next day I'm off, so you'll see 2 streams. I should have Job finished in 2 days completely, and then we'll be in Psalms, and then and then we're just gonna get through Psalms like we got through Job. So, all right, guys, take it easy. God bless you, and I'll be seeing you next time. God bless.